Everyone blames Cody. But what if the real chaos agent has been sitting beside him the entire time? For over a decade, Sister Wives gave viewers what they thought was an authentic look into the lives of Cody Brown, his 4 wives, and their sprawling family. It promised a portrait of love, faith, and perseverance under unconventional circumstances. But behind the smiles, the carefully edited confessionals, and the orchestrated family moments, there was another story playing out. A story of quiet manipulation, shifting loyalties, and a family dismantled piece by piece. At the center of it all stands Robin Brown, the woman introduced as the family's savior, but whose presence would ultimately alter everything. When Robin entered the picture, she was painted as the gentle newcomer. She spoke softly, with a demeanor that suggested patience and grace. She cried in interviews, professed her love for family unity, and seemed, to both the Browns and the audience, like the answer to their problems. Cody beamed around her, the other wives cautiously welcomed her, and viewers were told she was the peacemaker. For a while people believed it, but cracks started to show. One telling moment came during a road trip, when a sudden storm turned Robin's pleasant mask into something else entirely. She stormed out of the RV in frustration, muttering sharp words about the weather. As she exited, she brushed an elderly dog aside with irritation. It lasted only seconds on screen, but it was enough to hint at a reality beneath the performance. Kindness when convenient, coldness when tested. These brief glimpses grew harder to ignore as time went on. Robin didn't just join the family, she became its interpreter, and more disturbingly, its gatekeeper. Over the years, she positioned herself as the only one who truly understood Cody. She frequently spoke for him, even in conversations where he was fully present. During a tense family discussion about Christine's desire to move to Utah, Robin took control of the dialogue. Her tone, once soft, turned cutting. She interrupted, reframed Christine's words, and questioned her motives. Even Cody seemed unsettled, glancing at Robin as though he was unsure how they had reached this point. This pattern repeated again and again. Robin downplayed Christine's very real struggles, once suggesting that her unhappiness in her marriage was imagined. Yet later, Robin casually admitted that Christine had been talking about leaving Cody as far back as their time in Las Vegas. The contradiction was glaring. She had known about Christine's pain for years, but publicly acted as though the news of her departure was a shocking betrayal. It wasn't naivety. It was calculated framing. The cracks widened during what should have been a joyful time, the holidays. Janelle and Christine organized a Christmas gathering filled with love, tradition, and family spirit. Robin didn't attend. Instead, she delivered a couch interview brimming with bitterness. Her words weren't mournful, they were accusatory. She painted herself as the outsider, the victim, while subtly casting doubt on the motives of those who had extended the invitation. Her absence wasn't a passive decision, it was a statement. Even in moments meant to be heartwarming, Robin found ways to control the narrative. When Cody shared a meaningful conversation with Aspen, Christine's daughter, Robin interrupted to twist the story, portraying it as a confrontation rather than a connection. The look on Cody's face was telling, confusion and frustration, as though even he couldn't keep up with the story being spun around him. Then came one of the most harrowing moments in the family's history, Truly's near-death experience. While Christine was out of town, little Truly fell gravely ill. She stopped eating, stopped drinking, grew lethargic, classic signs of severe dehydration. Yet no one in the house seemed to recognize the urgency. By the time Christine returned and rushed her to the doctor, it was almost too late. Truly was diagnosed with acute kidney failure. In any medical setting, such a case would raise red flags, possibly triggering intervention from child welfare authorities. The fact that it happened in a home full of adults who missed the warning signs is chilling. The show glossed over this tragedy, but the reality was stark. A child's life had hung in the balance because those responsible for her care were either too distracted, too careless, or too uninvolved to act. As the emotional fractures deepened, so did the financial ones. Cody spoke often of financial strain, warning of tight budgets and the need for prudence. But his actions painted another picture entirely. Luxury vehicles, expensive art, and most notably, a $2 million mansion purchased for Robin. While Janelle struggled to secure stable housing, even resorting to living in a modest trailer for a time, Robin enjoyed comfort and security, insulated from the hardships the rest of the family endured. To Cody, appearances were everything. He didn't fear being broke, he feared looking broke. And Robin became the centerpiece of that image. the polished wife in the grand home, the proof of success, even as the rest of the family strained under the weight of neglect. The favoritism wasn't just financial. It seeped into every corner of family life, from small interactions to milestone moments. Aspen's wedding, for example, should have been a celebration of love and family unity. Instead, it became yet another arena for Robin's influence. She dismissed Aspen's modest, thoughtful plans as princess behavior, belittling a young woman who had spent much of her life helping raise her younger siblings. Behind the scenes, Robin pushed for a cheaper venue, not out of concern for the family's finances, but seemingly to preserve funds for her own children's future events. The cruelty of this manipulation was palpable. Aspen, who had sacrificed so much for her family, was made to feel selfish for wanting one day that was truly hers. It was Meri, often criticized herself, who recognized the injustice and stepped in. She covered the additional costs and reassured Aspen she deserved the day she envisioned. It was a rare, quiet act of defiance against the favoritism that had come to define the family dynamic. The pandemic brought these dynamics into even sharper focus. Cody imposed strict rules, demanding absolute compliance from everyone in the family. When Janelle's adult sons, Garrison and Gabriel, pushed back, he gave them an ultimatum: obey or leave. They left. Robin's adult children, however, remained comfortably at home, untouched by the same rules. The irony was bitter. Robin's daughter contracted COVID at school and brought it into their household, yet Cody never used that as a reason to distance himself from them. The message was clear: the rules weren't about health or safety. They were about control, and about protecting those who never challenged him. Christine's eventual departure from the family was framed by the show as a shocking betrayal, but in reality, it was the inevitable conclusion to years of quiet suffering. Those early moments of supposed camaraderie with Robin? Likely performances to maintain peace with Cody, to uphold an illusion. Christine has since admitted she never truly trusted Robin and never will. Her decision to walk away wasn't impulsive, it was survival. Robin's arrival didn't just add another wife to the family. It dismantled the fragile balance that had kept it functioning. She became Cody's priority, his confidant, his shield against criticism. Over time, the family stopped being a collective and became a hierarchy with Robin at the top and everyone else struggling to hold on. Today, the Brown family exists in fragments. Some have found freedom and happiness beyond Cody's orbit. Others remain entangled in the web of loyalty and dependence that has always defined this story. But one truth is undeniable. The family viewers once believed in never truly existed. It was always a performance, held together by appearances and eroded by favoritism. Everyone blames Cody, people say. And yes, his ego and controlling nature were central to the collapse. But perhaps the most unsettling truth is that the quietest person in the room, the one who cried prettily, spoke softly, and smiled sweetly, was shaping the downfall all along. Thanks for watching.